What you got? Anybody want to take a risk and throw out their answer? Kira? 244.54. All right. Thank you for being brave. Let's see if she's right. All right. So let's go to our worksheet here. Enter the employee's total taxable wages this pay period. We've got 2,200. All right. B, enter the number of pay periods that you have per year. Well, biweekly is 26, right? C, enter the amount from step 4A of the W4. All right, let's look at the W4. Step 4A has 2,500. All right. Step 1D, divide the amount on line 1C by the number of pay periods. Okay, so we're going to take 2,500 divided by 26. $96.15. So 2,500 divided by 26, $96.15. Okay. 1E, we're going to add lines 1A and 1D to get to 2296.15. So again, that's 2,200 plus 96.15. That's how we arrived at that. 1F, enter the amount from step 4B from the employee's W4. There's nothing there. Easy enough. 0. 1G, divide the amount on 1F by the number of pay periods. Well, also 0. H, subtract line 1G from 1E. So we're going to get 2296.15. There's our tentative amount. That's the amount we're going to use and apply to the table.
I have a question.
Yeah.
The extra income is annual?
Yeah, annual. Yep. Yep. This is what they put on their W4. So if whatever they put on their W4, this worksheet is going to take that into account. Yep. If they screwed that up and it's on a monthly basis, that's what they put on the W4. So that's the employee's screw up. Okay. So figure the tentative withholding amount. Now we're going to find the correct table, the biweekly table. Scroll down. Biweekly. Using the 2296.15, we're going to apply that to the table. So 2296.15 is at least 2275, but less than 2305. Here we go. So between 2275 and 2305. Now they are using their filing status, which is head of household. So that means it's going to be one of these two columns. And they do have the checkbox checked, so it's going to be the highlighted column of those two. 283. That's our tentative amount to withhold. But they had some other information entered as well that we have to take into account. Oops. Come back. All right, so step 3A, enter the amount from step 3 of the employee's W4. Step 3 has $1,000. I said there's going to be a lot of toggling back and forth and scrolling up and down in this. Divide the amount on line 3A by the number of pay periods, right? 1,000 divided by 26 pay periods. 3846. Subtract line 3B from line 2A. So 283 minus 3846. Remember, they're getting this credit, this tax credit. They're applying it equally throughout the year to each of their pay periods. So 283 minus 3846, 244.54. 4A, additional amount to withhold. They don't have any additional withholding, so there's nothing there. So 0. And 4B, add lines 3C and 4A, which is 0, 244.54. That's their withholding. No. Kira. Well done. Any questions about that process? So again, it's you got to read the directions carefully and use that W-4 as your reference, and you should be able to get through this.
I guess I would want to know one.
Mm-hmm.
The extra income that's not subject to withholding. Like what sources would that be?
Might be interest, might be dividends. Maybe they have a rental property. We don't know. That's just something they put down. Yep. Something that is not, that's not, it's not subject to withholding in some other manner, right? Maybe they go to the casino a bunch and they go to different casinos so they don't reach the $600 threshold where they'd have to get a 1099. I don't know. They think they're going to win $2,500. I don't know. So, all right, questions about this process?
I just wanted to make sure, because I did come in late, so
Yep.
we utilize this form in addition to the W-4 itself.
Yep. Yep, so use the Pub 15T, which there is a link. Well, there's a link in the agenda, but there's also a link, it should be a link in the module under,
I got it. I'm sorry.
okay, no, that's okay. No, it's a good reminder for everybody. So this, under the, did I not update this? I got to update these. That one's 2023. Don't use that one. Use the one that's in the agenda. Here. I can fix that real quick, I think.
I just use the IRS one.
That's fine. That's where it's coming from. So this is, I think if I just change this to 2024, it should then get to 2024. This one as well. Options, 24. And then I'll update the Iowa one later, but that should get to the right place now. Yes, so now it's 2024. So those are in there. So you want to use the Pub 15T and the W-4 form together. Now, of course, your homework isn't going to have a W-4, but it will tell you that information. But that's why I say it's helpful to have the W-4 right next to you, so you know what it's referring to. Let's see here. Hold on. Okay, so I showed you, we had an example of what happens when we've got an income level that falls outside of that table, right? Which can happen. The tables only go so far. They only go up to a certain level, which means that we have to have an alternative method of calculation when we have income levels that are outside of that range. So here, I guess I can go through here. So when that happens, we have to use what's called the percentage method. And the percentage method, as I had mentioned, there is a worksheet for the percentage method also. So if you click on the percentage method tables, you'll see there is a worksheet. Now, it's a lot of the questions are the same and kind of go through the same process. You can see we get to an adjusted wage amount, and it's the same. Step 1 is exactly the same as what we just did. Excuse me. So all of this up through 1H doesn't change. What changes is how we figure the tentative withholding amount. So are you on page 56 of that 15T? Okay. Yep. There are several of these worksheets in there. So be careful as well that you're in the right section. My best advice is to just jump right to it. Like go up here, percentage method tables for manual payroll systems 2020 or later, starts on page 56. It said this worksheet, these questions are the same as for the previous worksheet. What's different is this how to figure out this tentative withholding amount. There are steps there, and it takes you through one by one. I'm gonna just give you an overview right now. We'll go through in more detail and do practice problems on Tuesday, but I want to give you a little bit of a preview of what is here. So these are our tables. It's a lot different. It's actually shorter because you can see, so weekly payroll period is just on one page. Bi-weekly is on one page. Semi-monthly is on one page. Monthly is on one page. How these are set up. On the left side are our standard withholding rate schedule. So if the checkbox was not checked, you use the tables these are schedules. The schedule's on the left-hand side. If the checkbox was checked, you're going to use the schedule that's on the right side. Each of these pages has different schedules based on filing steps. So we've got our married filing jointly at the top, single or married filing separately, head of household here. How these work. So let's just say we've arrived at, let's use this. Actually, let's go ahead and use this. Same information. So we get to the tentative amount, like I said, it's exactly the same steps up to 1H. So 2296.15 is our tentative amount. What we do now, and like I said, the worksheet will take you through this step by step. I will go through the worksheet on Tuesday, but I want to show you how this works just so that you can maybe gain an understanding of how these schedules are set up. So the first thing you do, again, you've got to find the correct payroll period. This is bi-weekly, so we don't want the weekly one. We want the bi-weekly. Now we've got to look at, so was a checkbox checked? Yes. So we're going to use one of these over here on the right. This individual is head of household, so we're going to use this schedule here. This is all we're going to look at. I know there's a lot of numbers there and a lot of, rows and columns, but this is all we have to focus on for this employee. So they're head of household and they checked, they're bi-weekly, they're paid bi-weekly, they checked the checkbox, so we're going to use this table. The instructions on this are up here as well as in the worksheet, but you have to read it correctly. It's a little weird how it's read because you start up here. If the adjusted wage amount, line 1H, this amount here, is at least whichever amount over here, but less than this amount here. So you're kind of going, you're starting up here, you're looking down here. You're going up here, you're looking down here. So it's a little bit of a zigzag for these instructions. So our adjusted wage amount is $22.96.15, but we're head of household. So that is at least $1,635, but less than $2,354. Am I right? Yep. All right. Now what we have to do is follow the rest of the instructions on these lines. Okay, so we've got the right row. We found the right row. The tentative amount to withhold, now we got to go back up here to the instructions. The tentative amount to withhold is $139.32. What I suggest is once you find that tentative amount to withhold, you just write it down. It's a tentative amount. That means we're going to have some adjustment to it. So just write it down off to the side somewhere. $139.32. All right. Tentative amount to withhold $139.32 plus this percentage of the amount of the adjusted wage that's over $1,635. So the amount, here's our adjusted wage here, $22.96.15. We've got to figure out the difference between that and that $1,635 is the lowest number in that range. Okay, so what we're looking for is what's the amount over into this range, into this bracket here. These are tax brackets, by the way. This is how the progressive tax system works. You've got, if you're in the 22% tax bracket, not all of your income is taxed at 22%. The first chunk is taxed at 0%. Next chunk is taxed at 10%. And then it's taxed at 12, and then it's taxed at 22. This $139.32 has already done the calculation for those other brackets. Okay, what we're figuring out is, okay, how much into our final bracket are we? How much of that is going to be taxed at 22%? So we do that by taking our tentative amount, $22.96.15, subtracting the lowest end of that bracket, so the $1,635. So what do we have here? 1, 6, 1, what is that? 6, so $661.15. So we are, our adjusted wage amount is $661.15 into this 22% bracket. Okay, that's how much is going to be taxed at 22%. So we do the calculation, and that's so, and it says that right there. So plus 22% of the amount over $1,635. That's just what we've done here. This is the amount that's over $1,635. So we take the $661.15 times 0.22, $145.45. And then we add that to this. This was our tentative amount, right? So plus, sorry, I know this is a mess. 145.45. Sorry, 7, 4, 9, 10, 1, 304.77. All right. The instructions on the form. Where is my form? Is it?
Yeah, the 7. It should be
284. Okay. Thank you. When I do it in my head, it's not necessarily going to be right. 284.77. 77. The worksheet, this part here takes you through that. It takes you through these whole steps that we just did. Okay, but it takes you through, it tells you it's in much more detail. And we'll do that, like I said, on Tuesday. So this is our tentative withholding amount now. So this is, we've done these steps. Our 2F, I'm going to take off the 2A. 2F ends up being 284.77. And then these are the same as well. The step 3 and the step 4 are exactly the same as what we just did. It's taking those credits and applying it, spreading it out through the year, and then any additional amount to withhold as well. All right, we'll go through and do more practice. if you want to get ahead at all, there is, let me get there. Under the agendas, and this is, I was overly optimistic about how much could get done today. There are some practice problems listed here. If you wanted to take a look at them, some of them you can't use the wage bracket method. You have to use the percentage method because the income levels are too high. But some of them you can use the wage bracket method in the tables. So play around with those as you like. All right? Let me know if you have any questions.